everybody. This is Corey, the Uber Linen Lady at Superior Finds Reselling Adventures. So if you've never been here before, welcome to my channel. I am a reseller in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and I named my store Superior Finds because I live by the shores of the Great Lake Superior. So that's a little bit about me. And today I want to talk about if you're a first-time reseller or if you're thinking about reselling. Can you make money at this? Yes, absolutely. And there are thousands upon thousands of us that do. Now, it just depends on how you want to make money. If this is for saving up for vacation, if this is for part-time to help pay for a child's college or your college, or if you want to go full-fledged, full-time. So I am a full-time reseller. Now, I do have other gigs that I do on the side. So I also pet sit, and I also have this gig with a major website where I'm training their AI right now. But my top income, the most income I make right now, is from reselling. And this is what I love to do, and I will always be a reseller. Now, I started reselling in 2003. I was recently divorced, and I needed money for my kids for school clothes. And at that time, people read a lot of, physical hardcover, soft cover books, right? There's no Kindles or anything out. And so I sold my book collection. I said, well, I read these, so I don't really have to keep them. And if I do want them again, I can always buy them again. And that's what I did. So I started off with selling books. And then I went to other things because I really liked selling on eBay. And I thought, wow, there's so much opportunity here. And at that time, eBay was the only online, marketplace for used items. I think so anyway. I know that Etsy came soon after, but I'm not sure of when Etsy became a business. But eBay has been around since the 90s. Now, back in 2003, we didn't have smartphones. And so when I sold books, sometimes they would have the cover of the book if I put in the ISBN number. And people would buy by description pretty much. If I said this book is in good condition, the dust cover's in good condition, there's no rips or tears or marks on the pages, then people would buy the book if they liked the description. So I had to be very careful with my description. Now, there came a time when, and I don't know what year this was, when eBay started accepting pictures where you could actually upload pictures onto eBay. Then we did that. I had a little camera, and the thing was, however, that there is no photo editor, right? So we had to make sure that when we took pictures on eBay for items, the light better be good. It better be a good picture of the item so your buyer knows what they're getting. Nowadays, it's so much easier. And nowadays, though, you have more competition and you have more marketplaces. So it really has changed the reselling game. Now, if you are thinking about reselling, I would always suggest to sell things around your house first, things that don't cost any money, or you bought them a long time ago, you're no longer using. Sell those first. Then, when you feel comfortable, figure out what you want to sell. So you may decide, well, I only want to sell books, for example. Now, I have to tell you, I stopped selling books. I only sell rare books now when I find them, just because the market became flooded and there wasn't such a demand for books once, we had the Kindles, and once we could just read books off of our phones, right? So there's less of a demand for books. And however, I will say that I did sell a rare book for about $150 about a week and a half ago. So I was very happy about that sale. So when you decide what you want to sell, make sure that there's a demand for it. So first things first, right? Figure out what platform you want to resell on. Now, eBay is my main resource. When I list first on eBay. Everything I have, all of my listings are on eBay because I'm so used to eBay. I've been a member of eBay since 2003, as I said before. And it's very known, and you have the most buyers on that website. Now, if you're reselling or if you're going to make items, you definitely want to check out Etsy. Now, I also sell on Etsy. I sell vintage items because I am not a crafty person. I just do not have the patience for it. Etsy is a great, great platform, though, if you do handmade things. Just be careful that what you want to make, that Etsy is not flooded with other sellers doing the same thing. And you can just Google or do a search on Etsy for print on demand shirts, for example, or if you make curtains or tablecloths or quilts. So quilts or blankets. See how the marketplace is, right? Because you want to sell your items. You don't want them to sit. How are your items different from other sellers? Now, I also sell on Poshmark and I sell on Mercari. Poshmark first started as a clothing resale site. And now you can pretty much sell everything on Poshmark as well. Me personally, I do not sell anything over £5 because if you do on Poshmark, then you are charged more for shipping. So you're not going to get all of the net income that you may have planned for. So be very careful with that. If you are selling a heavier item, you may want to think twice about selling it on Poshmark, or just know and maybe mark your item up a few dollars because shipping is going to be more. And Mercari, I also sell on, and almost all of my items are also on Mercari as well. Mercari is a good site. It's a different, it's different than eBay. I will say that. However, some people think it's a lot easier than eBay because it's really all on your mobile phone. You can do everything on your mobile. I rarely go on the desktop Mercari site. Same thing with Poshmark. Poshmark is mobile. I never really need to go on Poshmark on my desktop. eBay and Etsy, yes, I do. eBay, you want to put in as many details as you can on your item. So you want to use a laptop. You can use your phone. You can get by with that. However, using a desktop laptop is a lot better, or PC, I should say. Etsy is the same way. Etsy on the phone is fine. However, there's a beta program on Etsy right now where people can give offers for the things you have for sale. Right now, it's really not working by your cell phone. For some reason, when someone gives me a message saying, hey, I want to offer this much for your item, I cannot go onto my phone into messages and retrieve that message. I have to go on my PC. So just think of what you want to use, what you primarily use. If you don't have a computer, then you want to probably go on Mercari and Poshmark. And then they have different ways where you can scan in your items to send them out. Now, there are other marketplaces. Depop is one. There's several of them. Bonanza is another that's very easy to use. People do get very minimal sales from Bonanza. I will say that. So you just look, I think Grailed is still around as well. I tried Depop, it just didn't work for me, and you're going to find that too. You're going to find what marketplaces work for you and what what marketplaces do not. So yeah, eBay is my primary. Then I have Etsy, Poshmark, and then Mercari coming in as number 4. Something else I want to mention about being a first-time seller. When you first go on eBay, especially, there are feedback scores on eBay. And so mine are in the thousands. Many resellers are, of course, because we sell so much. However, when you first start out, you're going to be at 0. So when buyers look at your username, they're going to see a little number after that, and that is going to be 0 if you haven't sold anything on there. Now, if you've ever bought things on eBay, you will have more of a feedback score, right? But I will say, if you have less than 100, you are going to get scammers for your items. You're going to have things for sale. People are going to say, oh, can you message me here? Can you send me something by email or by phone? Or, they're going to say something ridiculous to you, and you have to go through the scammers. Of course, you can report them. And eBay does try to not have that so much. But, scammers, they can make a false profile, and it's just ridiculous. Anyway, so on eBay there are scammers. Report them every single time, and it will get better, I promise. I don't have any scammers bother me just because I do have a high feedback. And let's also talk about what you do decide to sell. Now, when I first started out, I said books. Then I decided to look at yard sales, garage sales. I would go to thrift stores. Now, I was brand new, and back in, before 2010, okay, I would try to understand how it worked, and there's a learning curve. It's a lot easier now because we have, we have the Google image. If you don't know what something is, you just take a picture. Google will pretty much tell you, unless it's a very rare item. So it's so much easier now. Back when I started, I pretty much had to guess, and I gambled a lot. Some worked out, some did not work out, and that's just the way it went. Now, what happened with me was also that I live in a very rural area. So I have my thrift stores here, and I do live in northern Michigan, so I don't have my yard sales, 6 months out of the year. You don't have any yard sales. Now, there are estate sales that do run all year, but it is slower during the wintertime. And there are definitely online auctions around my area as well. I just have to travel usually about 4 hours round trip for the items to retrieve them after I win them in auction. So so understand, if you don't live in a big city, then the products you like may not be readily available, right? I sold clothes. So back in 2003, I just sold on eBay part-time. And I did this throughout the years because I had another profession. My career was in property management. So I was a property manager for many, many years. And then when I moved up here to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, it changed for me. So around 2020, after trying a few things, I decided, you know what? I want to be a full-time reseller. I can do it. I have the capital to begin it. And so that's what I'm going to do. I already had things listed because I was a reseller part-time. So I had made enough money, and I had a business plan to make sure I could take my interest to another level and make it a business. So I got my LLC and my business tax license. I got my reselling license, and I was good to go. Like I said, you don't have to ever do this full time, but it is so much fun, and I decided I wanted to work for myself because I was tired of working for other people. And you have your highs and you have your lows. 2023 was a great year for me. Last year, 2024, for no particular reason, it was not so good. And I didn't change anything in my store. And maybe that's what I didn't do. I didn't change things in my store. But, well, I will tell you as well, that's in 2023, I began to have a niche. I figured out that in a lot of these estate sales that I would go to, a lot of the yard sales, even the online auctions I would bid on, I got really good deals on vintage linens, tablecloths, table runners, curtains. I would get them at rock bottom prices. I mean, sometimes for 10, 15 cents, and I would sell them for about $20, sometimes $15. Other times I would sell them for $40. It would just depend on what I had. All of the things I have active now, like I said, I still sell everything. However, half of my inventory is linens. And it happened pretty much organically, pretty much by mistake, where it was just what I was picking up because it was working for me. And I said, wow. So that's why I started calling myself the Linen Lady. And I have had great success selling linens. So yeah, it is up to you. You may have great success finding breakables or flags, certain flags or t-shirts in your area. It just depends on what your area has. So today I will show you, I found these valances at my local Goodwill. And so very nice, you know, nothing special to them. They have the gingham farmhouse look. Okay. I bought these for $1.50. And I will probably sell it for about $18, $19, maybe $20. And I bought 4 of these. And that's the great thing with linens as well, especially with curtains, I find multiples. Something else I find is yarn. Now, this yarn in particular, they're not going to go for too much. However, I'm going to lot these up in light colors. You know, I'll put like the pinks together, maybe something like this, and lot them up for maybe $15. But I bought these each for $1.50. So it will be a nice net profit as well. Then I came across, look at these cups. I bought 27 of these cups today. They are mid-century modern. They are the atomic flower pattern, and they are made by Shenango, China, which was primarily a restaurant brand. But there you go. Now, I bought these for $1. However, I had a 50% coupon with my local Goodwill, and so each one of these I got for 50 cents. And that's something else I want to also cover when you're thinking about doing this full-time or part-time. And when you do decide that you're going to go out and source, you know, you're going to buy things for your business, make sure that you're not sourcing too high. I like my items to average out about $3 or less. And I do an average every month of how much it costs. And usually I can do below $3. Sometimes it does jump up to about $4.50 if I have some things that that are priced a little high but are going to make me more money. I do. I am not afraid of buying high as long as I have a good idea that it's going to sell for very high as well. And keep track of your local thrift stores. There may be certain days where they have certain things a certain percentage off. My Goodwill has a 50% coupon if you spend $50 or more. And so every time I go to Goodwill, I will spend $50. So I get a 50-cent coupon. So everything's half off. And it's awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. So make sure you do that as well. And don't ever give up unless you're really, really sure that reselling is not for you. And like I said, you are going to have your highs and you're going to have your lows. Even big resellers who have tens of thousands of items, sometimes they have bad months too. It's, and it's just one of those things that happen. So never be afraid of that, and never let big resellers get you down. Don't ever think that the resellers who have employees and they have a big business, that they're going to take away your business. That's just not true. Even I've been on eBay now for 22 years, and I will never say that you can't make a profit. I scaled down my business this year because I'm refocusing on certain things, and I'm dropping my percentage on my promoted listings, which has been great so far. And my sales have been good. They did slump in January, especially February. I had a slump, but now they're increasing. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. And I probably rambled on a little bit, but the main idea of this video was to say, look, if you want to be a reseller, you absolutely can do it. And you're going to learn so much on your way. When I started, I didn't know what mid-century modern was. I had no idea. Now, when I see a mid-century modern piece, I absolutely know it's mid-century modern, and I get so excited. So yeah, thank you so much for watching today. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will catch you all on the next video.